Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. Let the good times roll, shall we? I'm going to have an easy night tonight. I love nights like this. It is Sunday, by the way. I love nights like this because all I really have to do is brag about what our people are getting done out there in the real world. So welcome to Student Loan Justice. We are the first, oldest, largest, and pretty much only real, actual grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. Nobody likes student loans, least of all me, but here we are. Sometimes you can't pick your battles. Sometimes life throws you into battles. And here we are, reluctant, accidental activists. We're glad that you found us. And make no mistake, it's not you. It's the lending system. In case you're new to the group, it's not you. The vast majority of all student loan borrowers were never going to be able to repay their student loans, even before the pandemic. Lending systems fail from time to time, ladies and gentlemen. They just do. Greed and corruption seeps into banks and other lending apparati, plural of apparatuses, whatever that is. And lending systems fail from time to time. And here we are, the unfortunate or fortunate firsthand witnesses of a pretty big one. Maybe not quite as big as the subprime home mortgage thing, but federal student loans are far more failed than subprime home mortgages ever thought about being. So the default rate for subprime home mortgages was about 20%. It was a catastrophe. The default rate for 2004 borrowers, people who left college in 2004 for federal student loans, is 40%. It's double that. And in 2004, people were only borrowing a third of what's being borrowed today. And wages haven't gone up by 300% since then. So, this sucker is toast. By my best estimate of everybody walking around with federal student loans right now, whenever they try and turn the lending program back on, eventually something like 80, if not 85% of all borrowers we're going to default on their loans. So what are we even talking about here, guys? This is silly season. Don't believe what you see in the mainstream media. They are trying very hard. The people who have foisted this scam on us in Washington, D.C. and Wall Street, many other places, including the colleges, they would love to keep this lending system going. So they talk about the federal student loan program as if it's a legitimate enterprise, and I'm here to tell you it is not. The day one mistake that they made with this federal loan program, well, first of all, in 1965, when President LBJ, Lyndon Johnson, rolled the program out, he declared the loans would be free of interest. Free of interest. His words, not mine. Well, lo and behold, here today, about $100 billion a year in interest alone clicks off on our backs. But you know the big mistake that they made? And frankly, it wasn't a mistake. They did this on purpose. It was a feature, not a bug. They removed constitutional protections, constitutionally enshrined protections from these loans. Bankruptcy. And nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, guys. And they know that. And they love the stigma associated with bankruptcy because it keeps everybody quiet. The fact of the matter is the founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution, head of the power to declare war and raise an army. So they knew what they were doing, and they made a huge mistake. And now they've destabilized a huge section of the American people, which is us. By my best estimate, about 38 million out of the 42 or 3 million federal student loan borrowers were underwater on their loans. And this is even before COVID. And the pandemic, quite frankly, was the nail in the coffin. So, guys, this is a hard battle for us. We're the only group that I'm aware of that's actually fighting this fight as it needs to be fought. It was this group that brought the idea, at least, of student loan cancellation by executive order into the public conversation. So make no mistake, we are fully pushing for the cancellation of not 10,000, not 20,000, every nickel of federally owned student loan debt. It can and it must be canceled by the president by executive order. We don't need Congress. That's expensive. That's ridiculous and nonsensical. The taxpayers paid for these loans many years ago, and they didn't pay much, by the way. They didn't pay $1.6 trillion. And in fact, the vast majority of the federal portfolio today, if not all of it, has already been made back. So in other words, every nickel that the government ever lent out, it has gotten back. So it is fully in the black at this point. Every nickel of that $1.6 trillion of federally owned student loans, so not the older style FFELP loans, the federally owned loans, they could be canceled tomorrow, and the taxpayer would be breaking about even, maybe losing just a tiny bit, like compared to PPP loans or any of the other nonsense we saw thrown out to the country, tax cuts, etc. It's the cheapest and easiest way to stimulate the economy. So we're full on board with cancellation, guys, but we know as a practical matter, we're in a fiercely nonpartisan group, but we're very partisan aware, and we have looked at this problem front and back, inside, outside, every way you can possibly look at it over many years, and even, I would say, many decades at this point. We've been around since 2005. We found that without the constitutionally enshrined right, aka leverage of bankruptcy returned to the loans, which is something Congress could easily do tomorrow, until that happens, we're not going to see any kind of meaningful loan cancellation. We're going to be begging Joe Biden or the next president forever, and we will have zero power on our side. At least legal power. We've got all kinds of power on our side, guys. Don't get me wrong. We control this lending system. Don't forget about that. But as in terms of like legally, we got to get the right of bankruptcy back. We came very close last session. The Democrats betrayed us at the 11th hour. And again, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group, whether you're a Democrat, Republican. Otherwise, you're very welcome in this group. But we tell the truth, no matter where that truth goes. So we've been working very hard. We've got a lot of work to do this year. First and foremost, we have to get into meetings with the Republican House of Representatives. We just do. Republicans in the House, people like Jim Jordan, they control the House now, aka they control the House Judiciary Committee where our legislation is likely to come from. So we've got to push Republicans this year harder than ever. Love them or hate them, guys. We got to push them in the House. In the Senate, we've got the same deal going on with Senate. We've got Dick Durbin. He introduced a great bill last session, and he betrayed us, I have to say. He decided not to advance this bill, despite the fact that he had overwhelming support for it. So we're asking everybody out there to get us into conversations with both of your senators and, most importantly, your House representative, be they Democrat or Republican, we don't care. We prefer the Republicans, but whoever your House rep is, get them in a phone conference, bring us onto the phone conference, and we will very happily come in and do most or all of the talking. It's what we're good at, guys. But the other thing that we're doing right now that's very important is we're asking everyone to get a letter to the editor of their local newspaper. And in that letter, we're asking everyone to call for one or two things or both. That is what I just said. The return of bankruptcy protection to student loans, that's the most important, or the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order. I am thrilled to report here that we've got at least 15 or 16 letters to the editor published over the past couple weeks. And first of all, I have to give a huge shout out to Jackie Abram in Texas. She and her friends, and I think even family, they've gotten I want to say 10 letters to the editor published in papers all across the state of Texas. That is fucking strong. That's one person getting that done, guys. And so think about that. So I'm thrilled to report that. I'm particularly thrilled to report that our friend Nicholas Linky in Utah was able to get not one, but two letters to the editor published. One in something I'm not really familiar with. This maybe a smaller newspaper somewhere. It was good, but he got a super strong piece published today in the Salt Lake Tribune, which is the granddaddy newspaper of the entire state of Utah. I guarantee you Mitt Romney reads that paper. And from what I could tell, his letter to the editor was like, I think the top one mentioned. I think it was the headline for all the other letters. So congratulations, Nicholas. We salute you. And guys, I'm telling you, this is what it takes to win this battle. We've been doing this for 18 years now. And if you're new to the group, you're very welcome here, but you should know this is a working, fighting group. If you're not willing to fight with us, then you should just leave now because you're dead weight. We don't want you here. What we want are people willing to work and fight with us. You're not better than us, by the way. We're just normal people, just like you are. Or maybe you're super normal. We have some very super normal people on this group too. We have Harvard graduates and Yale graduates, and you name it. Yeah, you're not better than us. You got to get your knuckles a little muddy and bloody on this group right here. If you want to be entertained and do nothing and be sold a bunch of nonsense, well, then go to a group like Student Debt Crisis. You know, they're more than happy to have you sit on your ass, watch them dance around, eat popcorn, and oh, by the way, probably a student loan lawyer will come and kind of whisper in your ear and say, "Hey, I could help you with your student loans," and then they rope you into like loan consolidation or loan rehabilitation or any of these disgusting predatory maneuvers that don't help you but make them money. So if you want to do that, go there. If you want to actually solve this problem, which is your problem, then stay here, roll up your sleeves, and get ready to work like Nicholas is doing, like Jackie is doing. And, you know, we got a couple other letters to the editor published. Let's see if I can just find them real quick. Yeah, Star Telegram I talked about. You know what? I'm just going to say, so far, we've got around 15 letters published. I think we may have gotten one more published today here in Wisconsin, although I haven't looked yet. That's my letter. Oh, and not to mention Lisa Ansell got one published in the Los Angeles Times. Was it last week or a week before that? So we're on a roll, guys. And these all started with, I think all the 15 things that I just mentioned started with like what, 4, 5, 6 people maybe? You would be amazed at how useful and how influential these letters to the editor are. Anybody can do it. Just go to your local newspaper, go to the opinion section, go to letters to the editor, and look around. It'll say, "Do you have a letter to the editor? Send it here." And there'll usually be an email address. There may be you may have to go to the contact me or contact us section of the newspaper, and you'll see sometimes they have a form where you can do it. You want to make your letters typically about 150 words or less. Sometimes they'll go 200. I've seen them go like 250, 300, even 400 words in the past. So that does happen, but check with your local newspaper and whatever they say is just fit it within those guidelines. And look at some of the examples on our Facebook group to get an idea. You got to argue for 2 things. Well, we would humbly ask. And if you actually want to solve this problem, you would argue for, number 1, the return of bankruptcy rights to the loans. And number 2, if you want, the cancellation of all loans. The loans have got to be canceled, guys. It's a mathematical fact at this point. The lending system is finished and the loans will not be paid. Make no mistake. Even before the pandemic, 60% of all borrowers had stopped paying on their loans. Whenever they try and turn these loans back on, my best guess is that around 80% of everyone will not, probably maybe 85, maybe more, will not resume paying on their loans. The loans will be canceled ultimately, by and large. The loans will not be paid. And that is a fact. The only question is whether these loans get canceled sooner, like in our lifetime, or later as a result of our perishing, our death. So do you want to spend the rest of your life stuck with these loans like an albatross around your neck? Or would you like to get this stupid, man-made, government-made, Congress-concocted problem off of our backs today so we can still enjoy our life without the ridiculous, predatory, unjust burden of these disgusting, poisonous loans? And remember, guys, if they can do to other loans what they did to student loans, with particularly with removing bankruptcy rights, they will. They would love to do that. You know, there's some bad people in this country. They would love to conquer and enslave this country in debt. It's, I think, probably always been true. I think debt has always been used as an instrument to control and wreck populations. And lo and behold, we're seeing it here today. In 2023, United States of America. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry about that bad news, but it's just kind of a fact. So I'm going to look for your questions and comments right now. As I said, it's Sunday night. I think I'm going to try and keep it rather short tonight. So I'm looking for your live stream now. Oh, very important. I am thrilled to announce that we are now way more than halfway done with our fundraiser to get a new and hopefully improved student loan justice van. So my van, our student loan justice van, my van, died a month and a half ago. And we've got some very major travel plans coming up. You know, it was but for our road tripping in Iowa and across the country in 2020 and 2019, I don't think we would have ever gotten as far as we got on bankruptcy. I sort of doubt that we would have been able to get loan cancellation as far as we did either. You know, we spent months and months tramping around Iowa, from coast to coast, or from border to border, north to south, east to west in Iowa. And we got into great conversations with people like Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. We got to know really well, volunteered for two of those three people. We didn't volunteer for Biden. Biden was a shithead. Sorry about that. Nice granddaughter, though. I'll say that. I met his granddaughter. Nice young lady. But, you know, this isn't about personality, guys. This is about, unfortunately, politics. And we have got to get on the road again, not today necessarily, but certainly this summer and fall. The Iowa State Fair starts August 10th. So we need to raise $6,000 to get a replacement van for the SLJ van. I'm thrilled to tell you the last time I checked, which was about an hour and a half ago, we had raised $3,200, a little bit more, I think. That is freaking awesome, guys. I mean, we've only been doing this for like 5 days. So that is just a massive, good thing. And I could not be more pleased, quite frankly. It's so hard for us to fundraise, by the way, like to actually raise just the normal money we need to pay our electricity bill and our phone bill and all that kind of stuff. It's like pulling teeth. And so it would seem, knock on wood, that we're off to a very good start with this van fund for SLJ. I will paste the link to the GoFundMe. It's a GoFundMe thing. I will paste the link to the GoFundMe in the comments below if you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. And if you could please just help. I think we're at this point, we need 150 people to donate $20 or more. So that's not too many people, guys. We are, as I said, the largest grassroots group in the country. At least on paper, we have like 1.4 million people. And that sounds great, but it's actually, honestly, it's kind of meaningless if nobody does anything. So we can move mountains, guys. We have a massive muscle to flex, but you know, on any given day, I only see about 100, maybe a few hundred, maybe a few thousand on a really big day. Do I ever see our members actually doing stuff? That's got to change, guys, because as I said, this is your problem. These are your loans, and you've got to get your knuckles a little muddy and bloody in this fight. Most importantly, I would say, if you're ever wanting something to do, you can always go to our website and do our daily actions. Let me just dial that in for you. Our daily actions. Oh, and you can see the GoFundMe link right there scrolling below. But yeah, if you ever need something to do, go there. Do our daily actions. They really, they're very easy to do. You need a Twitter account. I hate Twitter. Everybody hates Twitter. But they're quick. They take like literally less than a minute to do most of the time. Sometimes they take maybe a tiny bit longer, but most of the time it's just Twitter nonsense. So do those daily actions. Maybe every couple of weeks, you go there and you do the past 2 weeks worth of our daily actions. That's a fine strategy as well. I actually haven't updated the daily actions on our website for, I think, over a week now. So I'll be doing that hopefully tonight if I remember it, and I will. But yeah, you can help with that, and you can join your state chapter group. There's a million things you can do. Don't be limited to these daily actions. Those are just very, very well timed, well thought out, very efficient actions that you could take that are very helpful here and now. Oh my goodness gracious. I see we have quite a few comments here tonight. I don't know that I'll be able to get through them all, but I will try. Hey, Joanna in Florida is with us. Good evening. I am here. I wrote another letter to a editor, uneditor, I think you mean yesterday. Check your grammar. Oh, good, Joanna. By the way, guys, I have to say, I was very scared of Chat GPT until I tried it. And I will tell you, it certainly doesn't replace a human, but if you're having trouble coming up with a framework to write a letter or maybe even an article, Chat GPT is scarily good at laying out a basic foundation of a fairly smooth flowing, grammatically good article. I don't know about you, but I always have problems with my grammar when I write. And just smooth flowing stuff. I don't know. I'm an engineer. Okay. That's my DNA is engineer. So I historically have had problems. ChatGPT does a eerily good job at doing smooth flowing articles or letters to the editor. So you may want to use that as a base, and then obviously you absolutely must go and insert your own facts and replace whatever facts Chat GPT might come up with. Don't trust any facts that they cite, because Chat GPT has no way of knowing whether any of the facts that it cites are actually true. And I can tell you they do a horrible job. There's just no way they can do that. So you have to kind of put in your own facts. But as far as the actual writing and smoothness and flow goes, I would say Chat GPT is quite handy. So you may want to give that a go. Hey, Leslie Fishman's with us tonight. Hey, Leslie. Hey, Robin. Miles is with us tonight. Hey, Robin. Leslie's with us. She says, hi, all. I've been quite low-key lately, but I'm still here. Been quite disappointed where this loan cancellation is headed. Not that it would help me with $20,000 cancellation, as the interest is more than that, but it would have helped my young son. Hey, I hear you, Leslie. And, I try and say every night, as long as this loan cancellation thing is still alive, Biden's loan cancellation was never impressive in the first place. And quite frankly, I suspect that the Biden administration may have purposely made it a weak executive order, vulnerable to legal challenges under the HEROES Act. So, I mean, and, if you owe less than $20,000 on your student loans, you're not in this group. We have people in our group who are like, you know what, maybe like you, Leslie, like me, certainly it's like, go ahead and add 10,000 onto my balance. I don't give a shit. Like, it's just ridiculous. And whichever way these Supreme Court cases go, again, it has not very much relevance, because the Higher Education Act is not in question here. It's the HEROES Act, which is I would admit, a fairly ill-fitting body of law to base student loan cancellation on. The Higher Education Act gives the president, the secretary, all the power they need to cancel loans broadly, totally, with no advice or consent from Congress needed. Not one dime is required from the Treasury. No money needs to be drawn from the Treasury. No money is added to the national debt. That law already exists, but the Biden administration didn't even use that law. So the Supreme Court, even whatever precedent it might set, is just not that important. So yeah, we're looking at the Supreme Court case. It's sort of an interesting reflection, and will be very telling as to how badly the politics and the corruption have ruined the jurisprudence in this country. That's true. But at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't really make a difference to us one way or the other. We're good whichever way it goes. So Leslie says, also, I am outraged that there's already a plan to pay back SVB investors. That's the third time I've heard that today. People are like, oh, watch, they're probably going to bail out the Silicon Valley Bank. That may be true. I think it's too early to tell, but I can guarantee you that many, many, many lawmakers, including people like Nancy Pelosi and others in California, I would bet you. And, Silicon Valley has their hooks very deep into Congress. So I would bet you that there will be a push to bail out SVP, or at least fully reimburse their customers for stashing their crypto profits in that bank or whatever. I could see that. And will the mainstream media say much, if anything, about it? Probably not. There'll probably be as much criticism of that as there was of the PPP loan program, I would guess. So whatever. But I agree with you, Kara. The outrages never end when it comes to student loan debt. The PPP loans came and went, and nobody raised a murmur. And the very same people that got those PPP loans are now the exact same fucking people, pardon my French, that are wagging their finger at us and propping up and defending and perpetuating the most unconstitutional, the most shamelessly greedy, the most fucking disgusting lending scam in our nation's history, which is the federal student loan program. These people, the hypocrisy hypocrisy makes blood shoot out of my fucking eyes, pardon my French. But welcome to our universe, guys. We knew this battle wouldn't be easy after we were portrayed or interviewed top story, believe it or not. We were the anchor guest in a top story on 60 Minutes, which used to be a big deal in 2006. I don't know if people really watch 60 Minutes anymore. The media landscape has changed so dramatically since then, but indeed we were. And I thought at that time, back in May 2006, all right, well, mission accomplished, right? Like Congress is bound to actually fix this injustice now. I'm here to tell you guys, I was wrong. I had no idea about how much staying power this blatant injustice had. The Department of Education and the Sallie Mae's and Naviance and even the SoFi student loan companies of the world, they've got amazing Teflon in Washington, D.C. It's quite amazing. Kara says, I watch 60 Minutes when I have access to it, right? Like if you're like me, you don't have cable TV. You get what you get on the Roku. And I don't know that I can even watch 60 Minutes these days, maybe on the internet or something. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've gone way longer than I wanted to tonight, but suffice it to say, we're on the roll. Remember everything I said tonight. Number one, I'm going to be selfish tonight. Number one, please throw something into our GoFundMe. You can see right there. Help us get this van figured out sooner than later. Number two, get a letter to the editor of your local newspaper published in the next 2 weeks. Make it your mission. And look at any of the examples on the group if you need something to go from, or maybe even try ChatGPT or one of the other AI platforms. Not that we condone that. Do your own writing if you can do it. And number three, get us into a actual phone conference with both of your senators and your member of the House of Representatives, your House rep, your congressman or woman. Call them up. Say you want to talk to whoever is their judiciary staffer. Get us in a meeting. Say that you want to bring Alan Collins onto the meeting if you want. Alan Collins is my name. 202-594-1120 is my phone number. Alan, ALAN, at studentloanjustice.org is my email. And I am very happy to accommodate, hopefully, wherever I need to be, I will hopefully be able to be there and fill in the blanks for you. But this is what it's going to take this year, guys. It's going to be tougher, much tougher this year than it was last year. And it was tough last year. And we busted ass last year. We came this close but that doesn't count. So get ready for this year, guys. The year is full on. I mean, shit, it's almost springtime now. We got to get moving, and we got to get moving right now. And as the quicker that you get off your ass and start helping, the quicker we'll gain the momentum that we need. And remember, dudes, I'm not kidding you. We have a muscle that where if even 10% of the people on our group were doing our daily actions, doing the stuff I just said, that's 140,000 people a day. That's enough to overwhelm every phone switchboard in Washington, D.C. in Congress. That's enough to overwhelm every Twitter account. That's enough to make national news damn near every day. We could overwhelm. We could flood the email address inboxes of every reporter, producer, and editor in this country every day until they finally start telling the truth, which is what we tell about the student loan problem. One very last thing I'll say is we take our research very carefully, guys. That's the stock in trade or whatever. Our bona fides rests primarily in the quality of the research that we do. And if you go to our Medium platform right there, you can see some of the research that we have uncovered, some of our research findings that are quite remarkable. In fact, they are remarkable. These are things that you will not see reported in the mainstream media today, by and large. We need to spread the word about these very important truths. Just browse the headlines for yourself. And obviously, I stand by every claim made in every single one of those articles. I stand by 1,000,000%. And by the way, 90% of those claims are very easily vetted and verified through nothing more than publicly available Department of Education data. You know, every once in a while we get an ambitious, hardworking reporter that will come and go with the story. I think I just got a little disrupted. Let me just say, we've broken some of the most important stories in higher education over the past 18 years. If you go to our Medium platform, you will see many unbroken, but very easily verifiable, very easily vettable headlines that, quite frankly, should make your jaw drop if you know anything about the higher education landscape. These are very hard to believe headlines, but I am here to tell you, and I'm here to go toe-to-toe with anybody claiming that they're not. They are. So send those things to a reporter. The reporters in this country have gotten so bad, you know, since the halcyon days of 2006, when 60 Minutes used to do good stuff. You know, you turn on 60 Minutes today, and more than likely, they're probably getting a tour of the latest oligarch's mansion in Beverly Hills or Dubai or something. That's what I've seen from 60 Minutes lately, and so too for the whole mainstream media, the whole mainstream press. And shame on them. There's a few exceptions, but anyways, go there to get the truth. Help us spread the truth. So I think I've probably given you way too many marching orders tonight than I really should. This is a 100% volunteer group, guys. You know, we can't we can't order anybody around. If you're going to help us fight, it's got to be because you feel the fire in your belly to fight. And I would have thought that the prospect of spending the rest of your life conquered and enslaved by predatory, unconstitutional debt would be enough to get a few more people off their asses, but whatever. The people who have gotten off their asses, the Lisas and the Joannas and the Jackies and the Nicholases and many, many others, too many to mention, obviously. You know, I salute you. We're the pioneers. When this problem gets solved, it will get solved because of us. So, and despite the other groups, I would say by and large. But anyways, okay, guys, so I will be back tomorrow night. Get on it. Make us proud. Let us know when you succeed in getting your letter to the editor published, and we will very happily brag on it for you. God Godspeed. Rest in peace, my late Uncle John Price. Just passed away last week. And God bless everyone.